It is May 19th. It is day 120 of the Trump presidency. Sorry I disappeared for a couple of days. I guess we have some guests joining me here in the background. My daughter wasn't here. I just needed a couple days to pretend like I don't live on this planet. You know what I mean? I think that for me personally, after the first 90 days, now it's starting to really sink in that, they're gaining ground. I'm sorry, they are, and it sucks. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch people die because of this. And we'll talk about that in a second. And it's just, I think discouraging is an understatement. So I'll tell you some self-care tips at the end, at least what's been working for me. Anyways, let's get into it. So the Supreme Court is allowing Trump to revoke protected status for over 300,000 Venezuelans. They're here in the United States because of political unrest and war, and it's not safe for them in their country. People don't just pick up and leave their country. I mean, think about what's happening right now here and what it would take you to just decide to leave the United States. I don't think you would do it unless it got to the point where there was literally no choice and you had to for your survival, right? I'm sure that's true for most of us. And so this is a really scary moment for anybody that's not from here, whether they're here legally or not. I mean, I think we've all seen that does not protect people. And it doesn't matter if you're in the process of giving birth or what, they don't have any mercy. So scary times for Venezuelans that are here, and, people have to find out, now what? Where do they go from here, right? Or if they even have a say in that, some people may just be deported to wherever they are deported to with no say in the matter, which I believe is worse still, right? I think for me personally, I guess I would probably rather be sent back to my own country unless some of these people are political dissidents. I don't know. Anyways, it's not great news, and some of the lower courts are pushing back and saying that the Supreme Court rushed through this decision and didn't give it real consideration. I think what's happening is for a lot of people that believed certain things about this country, that it was, operating on principles of law and justice. I think that a lot of people, myself included, have realized somewhere along this process so far that that's just not the case. That's not where we're at today. And, people are admitting that they're being both bribed and threatened. So, there's a combination of factors that are going into why some of these judges are making these choices. And when they are not siding with Trump, they are being threatened. They're being publicly admonished. They're being told that they're going to be removed from their positions or worse. So it's a lot. So Trump had a phone meeting with Putin. I think that was today. And, now he's saying that Russia and Ukraine are going to come to a ceasefire agreement immediately. However, a group of other countries had already met because they've agreed that they're going to pressure Russia into this. And that meeting was not addressed at all by Putin. So the UK and, I wish I could remember. I told you guys this before, but I don't remember the list of countries. It's a relatively large, including, I know, Canada for sure, and the UK, and a bunch of other countries, obviously, including Ukraine, are telling Russia that they need to agree to an immediate ceasefire for 30 days. And so Putin didn't say anything about that. So I think the odds of this actually culminating in a ceasefire are not high. I believe over the weekend, I want to say I saw that there was an attack on Ukraine, a fairly substantial attack. I don't think Putin has any, not just only desire, but I don't think he has any intention of dropping what he's after. I think he wants what he wants. And I also think he's running out of time and resources, and he knows that. So he's got to, if anything, I bet you they will continue to push harder, which is something similar to what Israel's been doing, and we'll talk about that later. Sadly, Biden has been diagnosed with a very aggressive form of prostate cancer. I'm sure you've all heard about this. It's been all over the news. The Republicans wasted literally no time in starting to call this a conspiracy. I honestly, I haven't read up on what the conspiracy theory is behind that. They think that he had cancer while he was in office or what? I mean, I know that Trump's son, and I don't remember if it's Eric or Don Jr., I think it's Don Jr., was like, oh, Dr. Jill Biden, because his wife has a PhD in education, by the way. She's not a doctor. Oh, this is crazy. She's just not going to catch that. She's a doctor. And I mean, obviously, I don't take anything that Don Jr. says seriously. But I am going to make this joke, but it's gross. Are wives giving husbands prostate exams? Because they're not. I mean, maybe they are, but honestly, I can understand why she may have missed that. And also, hey guys, it's not a conspiracy for a man of his age to have cancer. I'm sorry. That's something that happens. It's going to happen to Trump too. Something's going to kill both of those people sooner than later. And if you live long enough, you're going to get cancer, heart disease. It's pretty much inevitable. That being said, obviously, this probably didn't develop overnight. He probably has had symptoms. And to be honest with you, he's probably hoping he's just going to drop dead instead of having to go through all that. I mean, his son, Bo, died of brain cancer. And I'm sure the trauma of watching his son go through that was unimaginable. And trauma doesn't just leave your body. So probably for him, the idea of going to get, evaluated for something like that, he probably is just man, just let me die. I don't want to do this, I don't blame him. So if he was skipping his doctor's appointments for, I'm pretty sure that they force you, if you're the president, to go through some pretty aggressive stuff as far as your health is concerned. Whatever. Yeah, he's falling apart. It's going to happen to you too. Okay. I'm sure you guys also heard about this, but there was a fertility clinic in Palm Springs was it in Palm Springs? Yes, it is. That was bombed by just a disturbed young man, a 25-year-old man. He was an antinatalist. If you don't know what that means, he basically is against human life. I want to make so many jokes right now, but the jokes I'm thinking of making tonight are just too dark for YouTube. Anyways, he basically said that it's not ethical to bring life into this world under the current conditions for human beings. And one person was killed. 2 people were injured. The mental health of the world right now is not good. And a lot of young men are committing these really violent crimes, and it's not okay. It's really scary. And it's a sad thing that happened. Anyways, I believe his dad has made some statements about the situation as well. I can't imagine being someone's parent who made a decision to do something like that. It's awful, and I'm sure it's going to destroy, obviously the young man's life, and for sure his parents and his friends and all of those people's lives are going to be heavily affected by that decision. So very sad. Okay. A Mexican ship crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge on Saturday. They don't really know why. However, it's a training vessel for the Mexican Navy. So I'm going to just guess that it was probably an accident of somebody who just is new and like didn't really know what they were doing. But they're like in the process of an investigation. They have not released any more information. 2 people were killed, unfortunately, and over a dozen people were injured. Some kind of freak incidents there. The president of CBS News has decided to step down. Her name is Wendy McMahon, and, you know, it's directly because of tensions with Trump. I think that there's a lot of people in that industry that have to ask themselves, and we've been talking about this since this presidency began, do people want to stay in these organizations, allow themselves and their families to be targeted, put themselves through immeasurable stress to fight back against this administration when they don't really have any support to do that? Or do they want to just let Trump demolish everything? And then the blame will just be directly on the administration, and either the people will choose to rise up and do something about it or they won't. You know, I can understand that that's a really difficult choice. Especially, like, for instance, from the first headline tonight, like when lower court judges see the Supreme Court making decisions that support Trump, and they don't always, they have made decisions that push back against Trump, but when they make a decision that gives him carte blanche to do whatever, I'm sure they have to sit there and ask themselves, okay, well, does the law matter anymore? And maybe it doesn't. And now what? If it doesn't matter, do you devote the rest of your life to that? Or do you just kind of saunter off and enjoy what little you have left of whatever you're doing and just wait to see what happens next? You know what I mean? I get it, is all I'm saying. Okay, we're going to talk about some of Trump's weird ass tweets. So Trump has started, not even tweets, probably tweets as well, but on Truth Social is usually where he posts. I'm sure it gets reposted to X as well. But Trump posted, and this is like while crazy things are happening all over the country and people are dying, and instead of addressing anything that is important, he gets onto Truth Social and he has something along the lines of like, has anyone noticed that ever since I said Taylor Swift wasn't hot, she's gotten really ugly, or something along those lines? I should have written down the exact tweet because it's much worse than that. It's just weird. It's weird. He has a weird obsession with her. Obviously, she doesn't like him. It's bizarre. For the president of the United States to waste his time publicly feuding with pop stars, it really does. Like, we always joke that he's like the girl from Mean Girls, Regina George, and he sounds like her all the time. And that is embarrassing because he is a man in his 70s and she was a teenager in that movie. Anyways, I don't know if Taylor Swift has responded, but I can't imagine being her and having, like, you just gotta roll with it, I guess. Except the other thing is, celebrities that are targeted by him, it's literally dangerous. It's endangering their lives because his supporters are insane and they will like kill people or attack people. I don't know. Anyways, he's an idiot. And then he went on to today post again on Truth Social because over the weekend, Bruce Springsteen had a concert where he spoke out about what's happening, and he's anti-Trump, as so many of us are. And so, you know, Trump goes on this rant about how Springsteen's a loser and all this stuff. And then he posted this like AI video of himself. I don't know. Was he playing Born in the USA? Maybe. I think so. And he's like sitting at a piano. It's AI generated. He's sitting at a piano playing, and the song is playing, and everything is like red, white, and blue. It's so creepy and weird. And this is being posted by the president of the United States, who is feuding now with multiple celebrities, okay? So anyways, he comes out, and not only does he start attacking Bruce Springsteen, he says he wants to investigate Beyonce, Oprah, and Bruce Springsteen for endorsing Kamala Harris. and says and accuses them of being paid to endorse her, which would be illegal. There's no evidence whatsoever. I mean, a lot of people felt like that was our last hope, me included. I wake up every day now not really knowing what the future holds, and I think a lot of us feel that way. No one paid me $1 to spend my spare time trying to get her elected. It didn't work. I left a group of people that I adored. I used to be part of a group called, oh my God, I literally can't remember. That's so weird. Oh my God, I can't remember what it's called right now. That's so funny. Revolution TV, Jesus. I guess I really blocked that memory out. And it was a group of creators from TikTok, and we wanted to try to help get whoever the Democratic candidate was elected, because that was a cause that was really important to us. And that was like one of the main things we agreed on. And then we were going to like work on some mutual aid stuff and just some activism stuff and try to spread the word about whatever. Not to say we had gotten very far in terms of like organizing, but we were meeting weekly and yada yada. Long story short, when Kamala became the candidate, some people didn't get behind it, and I immediately was like, goodbye forever. There was people saying things in that group like maybe Trump wouldn't be so bad, and I literally have blocked a bunch of them and never spoken to them again. And my point is that a lot of us felt so strongly that that was an important thing to do. I can guarantee you a lot of celebrities felt that too. And don't need to be paid even a penny to endorse her. Anyways, good luck to the Trump administration investigating these people. And, I actually think it's good that some of these things are happening, because it shows how insane he is. And it just shows the whole country that he is willing to waste your tax dollars on absolute nonsense and not deal with things that are really important that are happening. For instance, the 27 people who died the other day in Kentucky due to storms, but it's not just due to storms. It's, yes, a tornado ripped through there and destroyed a bunch of stuff and killed a bunch of people. However, a huge part of this is that the NOAA was absolutely demolished by DOJ, and so was FEMA, and it was not staffed overnight. So they're supposed to send out certain warning signals at certain times, and it didn't happen. They knew a storm was coming ahead of time, like a couple days beforehand, but when the actual sirens, the tornado sirens, were supposed to go off, they didn't go off in time, and people are dead. So anyways, it's a mess. Everything is a mess. And Trump is just online tweeting about celebrities. So that's cool. He has yet to acknowledge what happened in Kentucky. And as far as I know, there is not going to be any kind of FEMA funds offered to them. Although I don't know what's going to happen, because I know that Arkansas had a bunch of storms, and dang it, what is that girl's name? She's a big MAGA person. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is like the governor or something. Whatever she is to Arkansas, when a bunch of people died there in the storms, there was a bunch of damage done, and FEMA was giving them nothing. She freaked out at Trump until he finally gave them something. I don't know how much, but it's going to be like that now. It's not going to just be an automatic, of course we're going to help you. It's going to be like you're going to have to turn him upside down and shake the pennies out of his pockets until he gives you something. And it's not going to always work. And that's really scary, because we're going into probably a pretty intense hurricane season. It's already ramped up pretty strongly, and I believe there's more happening. It's Monday, and I don't even think the storms are over yet. Anyways, okay, so Israel has finally started to allow a small amount of aid through to Gaza. I believe this is because of international pressure. There's a lot of international pressure, and the discussions about what's happening have really ramped up, and from every side of the aisle. But the UN came out and said, like, this is not enough. This is a drop in the bucket. It's not enough, and there's still a humanitarian crisis there. Not to mention that over the last 4 or 5 days, they've really ramped up shelling and bombing, and it's a nightmare, dude. It's a nightmare. I can't remember if I told you this, but most of the soup kitchens had to close because they didn't have any supplies. It's just a very, really sad situation. Mostly, again, sad because, unfortunately, no country has really stepped up and, like, strong-armed something into happening. So we'll see what happens next. All right, this is the last headline for tonight, but Meta, an ex-Meta exec, and I think that they're anonymous, came out and said that 40% of the engagement on Instagram is fake. It's just bots. I'm sure it's at least that, if not worse, on Facebook. And honestly, I would bet that a lot of it is bots on TikTok as well. And obviously there's various other countries that are funding some of this. Some celebrity accounts and whatnot, they buy bot engagement. It just doesn't look good for social media. But actually, I found some relief in that information because it makes me realize that a lot of the comments that I get that are, some of them I'm sure are real, but like some of them are probably pre-programmed bots that are created to continue to sow division in the United States. That's comforting to me. It means that there's less people that are absolutely despicable than I think there are. Because I'm obviously subjected to, I don't read most of my comments, but, I scan them a little bit, and you kind of get a general consensus on whatever the video is that's going viral at any given time. And, you can see some pretty gross stuff. Plus, like, they filter a lot of the comments, and there's like a separate tab for your filtered comments. So sometimes I'll go in there and just like look to see how insane they are. Anyways, I promised you a couple of self-care tips. I have started playing video games again. I just gotta I think you have to have solid ways to get out of here. I think here, as in planet Earth and the human community, is a lot right now. So I think it's really important that you have shows or books or other things that you really like doing. I've also really increased the amount that I'm listening to music. I'm also spending 45 minutes to an hour stretching every night. I've been doing that for the last 2 weeks. That has a downside though. And you may or may not believe this, but, there is some evidence to suggest that this isn't just hippie nonsense, but your body does store a lot of emotion, like tension, stress, suppressed emotions. So I have noticed an increase, I've been having more nightmares, which I don't really have nightmares. And I've noticed an increase in emotional release since I started doing that. And it's kind of annoying. However, it's good for you. It's like cleaning out a closet, which that's another thing I'm doing. I cleaned out my closet. I have 2 closets. So I cleaned out both my closets and my daughter's closet this weekend. And I'm just going to go through and do all the closets in the house. Get rid of anything we're not using, donate anything that we don't need, and just kind of tighten up. And I think that that is also helpful for your mental state. If you open up a closet or the refrigerator or your cabinets and things are put away and visible, I think it's calming to your mind. Isn't there one other thing? Did I already say I've been listening to more music? I can't remember if I said that, so if I did, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it again. I've been listening to a lot more music. I normally kind of obsessively listen to the news, and it is comforting to me. That doesn't make any sense. Just, you don't do that. You don't need to do that. That's just me. I'm psycho. But I've decided that I think I need actually to just disconnect more. So I've been doing that. And the last thing I'm doing is taking more baths. And the combination of all of those things, I really do think is helping. Because this shit is stressful. And it's really, we're only at day 120. How many days do we have to get through? 365 times 4 is like 12, 14 something, like 1450, something like that. That's a lot of days, man. We've got like 1300 days left or something. Ugh. Anyways, take care of yourself to the best of your abilities. We're not gonna do this perfectly. The last thing I will say to you is it's okay to like have mini mental breakdowns about all this. Like, let it out. There's actually recently a study done that said that women are diagnosed with 80% of autoimmune diseases and that they believe it's literally from suppressing emotion. So don't do that. I'm not telling you to punch holes in the wall. You don't need to punch holes in the drywall. There's other ways to let it out. Crying is honestly a very useful tool if you can get yourself to do it. Cry as much as you possibly can, within reason. Maybe don't do it at the grocery store. Or you know what? Honestly, fuck it. Go for it. All right. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.